flying horses, headbutting, and devils that wear Jimi Hendrix t-shirts, we saw Winter's Tale, so you know what that means.
Now it's time for How Did This Get Made? We're gonna have a good time, celebrate some failure, not just be a hater. Cause you know you wonder, how did this get made? Let's throw in the mediocrity of subpar art. Perhaps we'll find the answer to the question, how did this get made?
Hello, people of Earth, and welcome to How Did This Get Made? I am joined, as always, by Jason Mantzoukas. How are you, Jason?
Oh, boy, I sat through this movie today. Not happy about it.
Neither am I. Sadly, June Diane Raphael will not be here today.
Heartbreaking. I would love to hear what she has to say about this movie. I felt like I really was bummed because I feel like I feel like she
could have loved this movie.
I think she might have thought this movie was amazing.
I know. I talked to her about it last
So let's try at moments to find what June might have liked about this.
Well, maybe our special guest will channel the energy of June Diane Raphael. Very special guest. First-time guest. He is the star of the brand new Comedy Central show Review, which starts on March 6th, and the star of the Earwolf podcast, the Andy Daly Podcast Project. Please welcome Andy Daly.
Yeah, thank you very much. It is actually called the Andy Daly Podcast Pilot Project. Believe it or not, it is called that.
And I
myself always get it wrong.
Oh, okay.
No, that's the most descriptive title possible.
Right, because people submit pilots.
That's correct.
I'm excited to actually do a podcast with you, Andy. I don't think we've ever done anything
that's
before.
That's true.
Together.
No, we never have.
That's really
a good
exciting.
Point. Yeah, very exciting. Yeah.
I want to say this straight off the bat. I saw this movie at 1:30 this afternoon.
Yes.
Was anybody else in the theater?
I was ushered into a completely empty theater. Upon the movie. Okay, I could talk for the full hour about just the trailers before this movie.
I would love to talk about Blended, the trailer.
Can we talk about We Are Going to Africa?
That's Blended.
Yeah. What? I want to talk about that forever. But
yes.
Right as trailers ended and right as the movie started, somebody walked in and I was like, oh, fuck. Now I got to share this whole theater. I was at a private screening. Andrew Daly.
It was me. We sat next to each other.
We had a very romantic time.
Yes, it was really nice.
Well, I saw it last night in a theater with another person who left midway through.
Because they came, probably. Because they'd finished jerking off.
This movie, it's so interesting because...
Horse pervert.
Someone who's into horses that are actually dogs that are actually Pegasus.
Jesus.
This movie, I want to give it like a participation ribbon.
For what?
Because I feel like
everyone barely participating.
I feel like people showed up and they were trying. I feel like people were trying.
Yes,
I can say something in defense of this film.
Yes.
I told my wife last night that I was going to go see this, and she is one of these people who reads books.
Right.
And she pointed out that this had been a book.
And a very successful
one that she read and liked. And so it is, let's just say right off the top, always a challenge to turn a novel into a movie.
Well,
and when it's magical realism on top of it, an extra challenge.
So this is like got a little bit of the time traveler's wife element going on.
Well, let me just say something about this movie, just to give it a background. It is a book. It's on New York Times, like, best books of, like, the 20th century.
Wait, what?
Yes, it's a very popular book.
Best books of the 20th century because the New York Times says so, or because enough people bought that book?
I think,
is that a rating or is that a volume?
It was listed. It was included in the New York Times 22 most important works of American fiction.
Wow.
Yes. So, but the book
of the 20th century.
Well, that was my edition. So this is just important works.
Because I was going to say, like, that's a lot of books in the 20th century.
Well, this is American fiction. That's
pretty bananas.
That's pretty crazy.
And this book has been labeled and deemed unfilmable. Martin Scorsese.
Oh, and proved.
Yeah,
proven.
Martin Scorsese was supposed to do this movie.
Oh, really?
And walked away and said it is unfilmable.
Well, I read that Gangs of New York was an attempt to film this movie.
Oh, really?
No, I'm just kidding. It's almost identical to
It's like Magical Gangs of New York.
It's like,
basically it.
This movie, there's so many things about it that are glaring, and then so many things about it that are just, I can't, like we were talking right before it started, I don't even know if I could explain this movie to anyone.
Oh, I simply cannot explain.
I was, as an exercise, I was trying to explain the plot to myself, and I didn't get very far because as soon as I hit on the word miracles, I realized I don't understand what miracles mean in this movie, and I don't understand their relation to stars. I don't understand what stars mean in this movie.
Destiny.
or
The
destiny.
whole
I don't
movie seems
understand that.
predicated on everyone has a miracle that they are capable of giving out, and that is their destiny.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if as long as your
Right,
destiny
wait.
is unfulfilled, then you are immortal.
But wait, but there is something also about that too, because I wrote down one of the things. Well, I guess this is a kind of at the end. Well, the end. This is not to spoil anything, but it says when the
You spoil anything. It wouldn't
Yeah,
make
yeah.
sense. If you watch
Right.
this movie
There
in
is no way to
reverse
spoil this
order,
movie.
it would make the
makes-
same amount of sense.
It is about. I guess it's about destiny, but it also doesn't take into account that like in this movie everything works out well, right? So. What about the people who things don't work out well for? Like that's the question.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it the case in this movie, and I don't think we'll ever solve these questions, but is it the case that every human has one miracle that they can call on?
Well,
Is that what it is?
Well, okay,
I don't know if that's it, because
but that's-
then everybody would be full of magic all the time.
Well, here's my
the
question.
world would be like Magic fucking City.
No, you see, now here's the thing, and this brings a good point because I
Magic
thought about
City
this.
on Stars.
Magic City, love that. Miami, hot. People liked it. But here's the thing: if everyone has one miracle, then wouldn't Russell Crowe want to kill everyone?
That's what I would think.
Because
Well,
Russell Crowe wants to
so
kill.
I don't think everybody has a
him.
miracle.
So let me try my exercise.
yes,
Okay,
great.
all right. So Russell Crowe is a demon.
Yes.
Right? And he was grooming Colin Farrell to also be a demon, I think
Yes.
we could say. And Colin Farrell was too virtuous and ran away and didn't want any part of the demon lifestyle, which made Russell Crowe fixate on him as someone that he had to get. And then Russell Crowe came to believe that Colin Farrell is going to use his miracle.
Right.
And that makes him all the angrier, makes destroying him all the more urgent.
because
and
it's
that's
a
where I
win
lose
for the other side.
That's
He
where I
says
lose
to-
the thread.
Right.
He says to Lucifer, that's a win for the other side, and we don't want that, especially because she's a virgin. He makes special effort to talk about virgin
Right.
blood.
Well, he kills that waiter who he also called a virgin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he could only I want to get. We'll take it back a little bit and then. First,
the thing that's clear, I think you're right, Andy, but
that's actually a very.
I don't
succinct
think
plan.
Colin Farrell knew Russell Crowe as a demon, first of all.
Right.
No,
But Russell Crowe is like a demon, like a hilarious demon who's literally working for Lucifer.
Right.
Spoiler alert, played
Yes.
by Will Smith.
That's the big surprise cameo that everyone is talking about. And
Unbelievable.
by
No,
everybody-
is anybody talking about it?
I just know that it's very much. People are like, we can't tell you who the surprise is, but when you see the surprise, you're gonna know it. It's great.
Oh, it's awful.
Yeah, it's
it's
terrible.
awful. It's a terrible couple of scenes that he's in.
Yeah, awful.
Should we
And
just
it seemed like
start at the beginning?
We should, and I will
think
say
if we
that.
start at the beginning and try and work our way
Okay.
through, we might get somewhere.
And I will say this much about Will Smith's character. I think he was sold on this movie by going, you can come in for a day,
Oh, yeah.
and you could just totally score. This is
Yeah,
gonna,
oh,
you're
yeah,
gonna, you're
this
gonna
is-
really.
And don't
you're
worry.
Lucifer.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
the devil.
Okay.
And $2 million for one day's work, I'll bet you.
Yo, easily.
Right?
Easily.
Okay,
All right, so.
the first thing opens on Adam Sandler. Okay, he is a guy being
Now, I
set
missed
up
this
on a
trailer.
blind date with Drew Barrymore.
Now we can't. This blended movie. Is arguably as confusing as
This
movie.
trailer, I could not wrap my head around this
Please
trailer
watch
at all.
it.
Okay.
I woke June up last night and made her watch the trailer
Okay.
because it
is there
was
any
so-
way to drop the entire trailer into the episode right now?
I think we could, but it's much more visual. You won't get the Dr.
Okay, so
Scholl's-
they're on a date.
Are you really gonna go through this?
Drew Barrymore eats something spicy, and she's like, "Oh no, too spicy!" And then he's like, "Well, here's this French onion soup," and then she scarfs the French onion soup with cheese all over her face,
And then it has like a big cheese
a
mound.
big cheese glob in her mouth. It's gross. And then it's like, "Oh, I guess those two won't work out." But then for some reason, their
They-
credit cards got swapped.
Well, 'cause they
so
did
they
the-
have to
the-
meet up again.
Yes.
And when they meet up
I buy
again,
that. I buy that.
Yeah.
they realize that her sister is dating his boss, and each of them were both supposed to go on a vacation together.
No.
Wait, what?
No. His sister, Drew Barrymore's sister, was dating Adam Sandler's boss.
That's what I said.
Wait.
Yeah.
And they were going to go on a vacation
Right.
together. But now they broke up. They
Correct.
can't.
Yes.
So then they both independently of each other.
Yes,
okay,
yes.
all right.
So Drew Barrymore asks her sister, hey, can I have the Africa tickets? And Adam Sandler asks his boss, hey, can I have the Africa tickets?
Yes.
And then they both say, in split screen, we're going to Africa.
But they don't know each other until they get to Africa.
Well, they've just had one terrible blind date.
Oh, okay.
But also, I don't understand how they bought these tickets because the amount of kids, they each have like three kids.
Now there's twice as many people on the trip as should be, I feel like.
It's like Brady Bunch goes to Africa.
Yes, it's just like the Hawaii episodes of the Brady Bunch, only in Africa, as if the episodes happened when Mike and Carol started dating.
And
it's just full of like crazy jokes that make no sense. I was mystified.
I was like, I thought it was a good omen that was playing before. But go watch that trailer. It's better.
Do yourselves a favor. Go watch that trailer. Okay.
Blended.
I'm sorry I missed it. I was getting popcorn.
So this movie basically opens. Well, I mean, we can't get into the past and present. Let's just go from the past.
Constantly jumping between two different time periods.
Yeah,
right?
from two. Well, I mean, there's also I have a question about how long, because I also feel like I'll get into that question later. All right,
okay.
it's two
So
different
let's just say
time
this, though. Early in the movie, we see a Colin Farrell who has longer hair than the guy that we spend most of the movie with.
Yes.
And that's just a mystery, right? It's just a total
Yes.
mystery. Who is this guy?
Yes.
When is this guy? It's a mystery that gets solved later, but it's not one of those little
Did you see
mysteries
the
that gets
scene where they
dangled
put the
early.
baby in the boat?
Well, yeah.
Well, I want to talk about the baby.
We got to
in the
talk
boat.
about that. That's important. But anyway, I was going to say about that thing, like in Goodfellas, when it opens on this mysterious thing that we don't understand what it is,
right.
and we're excited and interested to find out what's leading up to this.
Catch up to that.
This, in contrast, is simply confusing. That we see him with longer hair, and then we see him with shorter hair for a long time.
We just know that he exists in the past and the present, but there's no payoff in that
Yeah,
scene.
it's 2014 and 1913, right?
1916.
But
1916?
here's the other thing. In 2014, and we can kind of dissect some of the plot here too, because he seems to be living above Times Square in
Grand
2000
Central Station.
Grand Central Station.
In the past.
No, in the present.
No, in the present, he lives in that apartment.
But he was up there going in the little drawer.
I don't know that he
because-
lived
but
there.
remember,
He discovered it.
Okay, no.
okay.
He
discovered
that's
where he
just-
used to live.
Yeah, what it is that's the first symptom of his memory returning because he remembers that place.
But
and he
wait-
finds the box with
But he
his
was
memories.
never there.
He was in 1916.
No, because his parents went through Ellis Island.
No, and then they had to go back.
Yeah, but why would they ever be in Grand Central Station?
Well, that's where he lived. Remember when
That's where he lived
He
in the-
lived in the roof of Grand Central Station.
But that's my issue. I don't think because his parents steal that little toy boat.
Yes.
Okay.
Put a little baby.
Okay, so the movie opens.
I want to get back to
the
this.
movie
but
opens on Ellis Island, okay? And there's a Russian couple with a baby.
Yes.
And they're trying to get in to the country.
They're
but
Russian?
I believed so.
Okay,
Or,
all right.
or they
Well,
were
if they're-
Irish or
they
something.
better be Irish because Colin Farrell oddly has an Irish accent, but was
Yeah.
never
They sounded-
brought up in
they-
Ireland.
They
No.
sounded Russian to me.
Okay,
but I
all
don't
right.
know. That's just
It
confusion.
doesn't. It wouldn't even help explain why
Accents in
Colin
this
Farrell has
movie
an
were a
Irish-
disaster.
big disaster.
Yes.
Okay, so then, how dare you kick me, Andy Daly? You son of a bitch.
I didn't want. I felt like you were possibly insulting Russell Crowe's accent.
So
Russell Crowe's performance in this movie
they
makes
are
Bill the Butcher look
rejected.
very mellow, very small.
They are rejected, and because of
consumption.
of a pulmonary
have a
infection.
pulmonary-
Consumption is a very big theme.
Yes. So the two parents are sent back to wherever the fuck they came from.
Right. But while they're
With their baby.
leaving, they take a model boat out of the ship they're now on, headed back to Ireland /
Yes.
Russia. They hollow it out. They put their baby in it, and they drop it over the side.
By
of
the
this
way,
ship.
terrible idea that
Terrible.
that you're putting a baby in a model boat.
Yep.
Right.
And they look to be miles away from shore.
Oh yes, they are very far away.
What they did
Yeah.
to that child is unsurvivable.
It
it could
is.
not be survived.
They might as well have said, "We need to save our child from going back to where we come from. Let's shoot it."
And by the way, I will
Like,
say this much: not in the novel. I know that. For
Oh,
Is that
really?
right? Are you
Yes.
serious?
Very serious.
Because here's what's
Not-
weird about that.
What?
Yes.
That's the only way it makes sense. Is
I
if it's
know.
in the novel.
It's totally unnecessary. You don't need that scene at all.
Exactly.
All you need to know is that he was raised an orphan and had no money. Maybe
Yes.
like
Yeah.
it would be nice to know that.
I mean, they could have just
That
been
is
like, because the
bizarre.
parents
Isn't
are
that
like,
bizarre?
"Can we leave the baby here?"
Why would they leave-
And maybe
It doesn't matter.
The
The
guy could have
parents-
just been like, "Sure, there's a baby drop right over
Yeah.
there."
there doesn't need to be anything to do with Ellis Island whatsoever.
Nothing.
And now he is brought up by Graham Greene.
Yes.
Oh, I thought that was Jack So from Barney Miller.
No. Oh my God. Amazing.
So he's brought up by Graham Greene, who has a Native American affectation to his voice.
Correct.
And so Colin
And
Farrell...
not just that, but he and
a ponytail.
He speaks of our our peoples, and we believe in 12.
Yes.
Whatever. Like
12
he
songs.
Speaks,
Or
yeah.
like
So
that?
he speaks with like the gravitas of an ancient kind of Native American like spirit or something.
He's a wisecracking mystic.
Yep, yep.
But meanwhile, Colin Farrell came out with a thick Irish brogue.
Yeah.
But now here's my question. See, I don't think he ever lived above Grand Central because he was raised by Graham Greene.
No, this is what happened.
As an adult,
I do think I know this because he's saying to her later, he's like, I ran away. The streets were the only home that I really felt comfortable in. And that's when Russell Crowe took him under his wing. And he became like a roustabout.
Okay.
No, actually, I know what it is.
And then, because remember when he finds the white horse,
Yeah.
and he brings the white horse to the guy to say like, will you board the horse for the night?
Yeah.
The guy says, you can't keep living up in the attic. The guys are looking
okay.
for you.
Got it,
and then
got
there's
it,
that
got it.
shot where he's opening the door
I do
in
remember
the
that.
sky.
Okay.
So it
got
may
it.
just be that he was above Grand Central while he was hiding out from Russell Crowe for
Quite
a short
possibly.
period of time.
Well,
I think
because
that may be
also
it.
Russell Crowe had no idea where to find him.
Right.
So if he was living above...
It felt it was Hugo. It's basically
Yes.
Hugo.
The most interesting part of this movie was, I was like, oh, I wonder if there are those panels at the top of Grand Central Station where you can peek your head out like that.
Yeah.
Thought that was neat.
I thought that was neat
interesting.
too. That was a good, I liked the effect of that.
Yes. Now,
Putting him in the stars in the sky.
love him. That's where he longs to be, in the stars.
Right.
in the
Beginning of us not understanding what stars mean to this movie.
But the movie also opens up with a very long monologue, and I wrote
in voiceover.
Yeah, I was like, this VO means nothing.
Nope.
There
Nope.
is
It's
nothing. I
garbage.
don't
Nope.
get
It
anything.
explains absolutely nothing.
But it's long,
And
so
it
long
returns.
that you can't get it in.
It returns
Right.
at the end, and similarly
also means nothing.
explains
Yeah.
nothing.
I wrote down the end one because
you did?
Yeah, I did. The end one is this. What if the universe loves us all equally, so much so that it bends over backwards across the centuries for each one of us? That's one of the lines.
Tells me nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
And it's too late at that point to try and explain
No,
this
yeah.
movie anyway, and that's not even an attempt to do it.
So then we're kind of we're going back and forth between the past and the present. We are the past. Yeah, the past.
Which
And
wait, you mean
the 1915
1916?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So then we meet up with Colin Farrell, who is now running.
He's on the run from Russell Crowe's bad guys.
Yes.
Who were sort of a cartoony version of the Pug Uglies, in a way.
Yep. Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
And Russell Crowe has some crazy scars on his face.
Yeah.
And this weird haircut that has like three little. This will come in later.
Yes.
Three little.
Like stripes in the back of his head,
yeah.
he's like a hip hop in the '80s when they
Like a fade or
You would
something.
shave lines in the side of your head. I don't know if you had that. I did. That I thought was very cool. Guys, that was pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, come on. So he finds a horse. So he's running from these bad guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he sees a horse, a white horse.
It does, and it was someplace. He's like on the docks in Red Hook.
Yes.
And
Cornered.
he's getting away, except that he slips on the ice and falls.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
gives the bad guys time to scale a fence. But then luckily...
But the bad guys, by the way, have guns.
Yes.
But almost never shoot at him.
Oh,
And
no.
never-
And Russell Crowe explains. He goes, no, boys, I want to go slow with the knives.
And by the way,
Very
when he
convenient.
finally does get to get his comeuppance,
Yeah.
he does not do that at all. He does not take.
He headboxes him? Is that what you're talking about?
Oh,
he
my
just
God.
That comes a little later.
headbutts him 3 times when he
That's
finally
the
gets his
strangest fight
fan.
I've ever seen.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
So this magical, well, we don't know it's magical. A horse appears and kneels down to him.
Yep.
As if to say, "Get on my back."
Right.
And he does.
I feel like there are so many listeners. I'm going to guess they're all women who read this book that are like, you fucking idiots, you don't get it. You're missing all the good stuff.
I'm
Listen,
gonna
it's
say-
not called How Did This Get Written? We're
Yes.
not under any obligation to write the book.
By the way,
I
please listen to
100%
our new podcast, How Did This Get Written?
We have to put this under the same rules as Mortal Kombat. People got
Yep.
very upset about Mortal Kombat. You don't know the rules. It's like, no.
Hey, guess
it's
what?
A movie.
That movie is still terrible. That movie is terrible.
So this scene now, when he gets on this horse, right? As soon as he gets on the horse, Russell Crowe, who is looking forward to killing this guy, then has a line where he goes, he's got the goddamn horse. Doing absolutely nothing to prevent him getting the horse.
Nope. Yep.
He could have done a lot of things.
Like we said, they all have guns.
They all have guns.
And they're literally an army of, like, I would say at least 25 guys.
Yeah.
They could have pulled him off the horse, knocked him
anything.
down.
And Russell Crowe
They could have
knows the
shot at him
significance.
at this point.
Yeah,
At
easily.
this point, Russell Crowe should be like, oh, you know what? Knife plan aborted. Just shoot the fucker.
By the way, shoot him in the shoulder, and then you can knife him all day
By the
long.
way,
Knife him all
shoot
you
him in the.
want.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah.
Shoot him in the shoulder,
That's
guys.
it. You
Aim
can
for the
still
shoulder,
get your
everybody.
knife. You can still get all the knife play.
Shoot
that
him,
you
but
want.
don't kill him. That's something you're allowed to say as a
Wing
gangster.
him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now this horse takes off and jumps very high over a giant fence.
Makes it a totally impossible jump.
Yep.
Which now, there are magical elements in this movie,
Yes.
but Colin Farrell
Yes.
is not aware. Colin Farrell is not aware of magic.
Yes.
Right?
He's not. He's
Magic
living
to him-
He's living in a non-magic world.
Yes. And yet he is not stunned, shocked, surprised.
Well,
He's kind of like, wow, you made that jump.
Yeah.
This
Like, that was
happens
quite a jump for a horse.
throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Throughout the movie, things that are just completely impossible happen, and all of the people who have no precedent for this are like, cool, I get it.
Yeah.
Like unfazed by
giant magical actions.
Crazy acts of magic.
And that's a problem. Like, I understand. Okay, magic
Yes.
is fine, but you have to have some rules in your magical universe.
Like, here's an example.
Some rules.
Here's
Just
an
a
example.
couple of things that
Yes.
you can't explain. Again, you really can't even explain what it's good and evil. We get that, but Colin Farrell's not necessarily good.
And it's also the framework is a very understandable storyline. It's gangster versus gangster. It's like the good gangster versus the bad guys. So I understand the framework of it. But then, like, there's this scene where Russell Crowe is with his crony and he's Kevin Corrigan, and it's like, we got to get this
Romeo.
guy. We got to find him. We got to. And he's like, well, we're looking everywhere, boss. I'm sorry. And he's like, sometimes the light comes onto the gems. You think I steal these gems because I want the gems? No, I steal the gems because the light loves the gems.
And by the
gems
way-
love the light. And then he mixes up gems on a table.
like marbles.
He's like, the sun shines
Like
on
a
them.
slee stack.
The sun shines on them, and then he points to a table next door and goes, Yahtzee!
My favorite moment of
Yahtzee! And then the light from the gems illuminates and creates
like an Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark
creates what's it called?
hologram.
Penn
Right,
Station
hologram.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Creates
Grand
Penn
Central.
Station, Grand Central rather, and he's like, Grand Central, that's where he is. Kevin Corrigan never once is like, what the fuck is happening? Kevin Corrigan at that point should lose his fucking mind. And he's like, okay, boss, I'll run up the guys. We'll head over
guess
there.
we're going to Grand Central.
So
And
you're,
by the way,
you're some sort of magic demon guy, right? Because that's shit I've never seen
But
before.
by the way, you could argue in this movie, because everything is so not defined, that Kevin Corrigan could have also have been a demon.
I don't think
know.
so. I don't think so. Maybe, but I feel like it's like.
So is he the only demon?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
No, for that territory.
Okay.
Remember,
Oh,
because
that's
Will
right.
Smith
That's right.
says,
Permission.
you are the demon for the 5 boroughs
five boroughs.
for the greater tri-state area.
By the
did
way,
want-
I wonder if that's historically accurate. Were all 5 boroughs consolidated
Yeah,
under the
19
city in
question.
1916? We're going to have to find that out.
gotta get in there.
Boy, we can get a historian in here.
I also feel like I was confused. Well, I was also confused. There's so many things about this. I was confused about where Russell Crowe worked, like what his front was, because in both worlds they walk through this like very
In
like,
one world, it's chalkboards.
Yes.
In the next world, it's computer
Computers.
screens.
And-
I was
and
like,
it looks like-
fuck you.
and it was so, and it was like, but they looked like there was like, I think in the first one was like toys too. So I didn't
Really?
Like,
I noticed they had.
But it
like-
was all chalkboards.
Yeah, it was all chalkboards talking about like what black market thing, like gold or
Yeah.
whatever, black market nonsense, like crime, generalized. Everything is so generalized in this. It's like they are generalized crime bad guys.
Right.
You know?
Now, this scene, we've seen Russell Crowe in the horse scene, and about halfway through this hologram scene is when I first went, oh, is he trying to do an Irish accent?
I think I thought so too.
Yeah.
Because in his first scene, I thought he was just doing his regular Australian accent.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then I realized later he was trying to do an Irish accent.
And by the way, he is really, I mean, Jason's performance of the Gems speech was about a 3. I mean, he's coming in hot at a 10.
He's really chewing
it's
this up.
big. It is a big.
Was there a time that Russell Crowe could like act and he forgot? There was, right?
I think so.
He was great.
He was good in LA Confidential, right?
Great in LA Confidential.
He was totally good in fucking the Gladiator, right?
Yeah,
Gladiator,
Beautiful Mind.
he was good.
Yes,
Beautiful Mind,
Beautiful
he's
Mind.
good.
He's done a lot.
Something
of good
happened on that Les Mis thing.
Oh, no, earlier than that.
Is
He
it?
became some
But
sort of
he-
unhinged monster
But you
about
know what?
7 years
He's
ago.
got
I feel
Marlon Brando disease, which is like
Oh my God, I didn't know. Oh no. Oh my God, no. Oh
So
gosh.
sad, it's so
Now I feel
sad.
terrible that we're making fun of him. I didn't know he has MBD.
Yeah, he has MBD.
He has MBD full blown? Oh no, he's full blown MBD.
Full-blown Z.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's not looking good. He's gonna make a lot of bad choices for the rest of his career.
Terry Gilliam is psyched.
But that's that's kind of the energy that he gives off. Like Marlon Brando, I think at a certain point, just like, oh no, I'm a great actor, so I'm gonna play this character super gay, and I'm gonna so much so that it's an offensive stereotype.
Yeah,
but I'm Marlon Brando, and I feel like he's like, yeah, this works.
Yeah.
like it just seems like yeah, I can sing.
It was-
Les Mis. Like
oh my
I should
God,
be in
yeah.
Les Mis, right?
Oh, you know what? I think I actually can't take him seriously anymore after that. To be honest, that he thought to himself, "I'm a singer. I sing with 30-odd foot of grunt. I believe that's the name of his band.
You're right, it is.
I can pull this off." And
Yeah, because really, I mean, look at this. He has good movies. It's L.A. Confidential, Master and Commander.
Earlier, too, like the
Cinderella
Australian
Man.
movies were good. So, like
310
Romper Stomper's
yeah.
great. Like those movies, too, are
310
great.
to Yuma. Come on.
His
Good
brain broke.
stuff. Yeah. Sorry. So he's doing an Irish accent.
Okay, so what we have yet to introduce, because it's already confusing enough, is the other main character of most of this movie, which is Lady Sybil.
Yes. From Downton Abbey.
From Downton Abbey, who
I think, I would argue, you give her the best performance of the movie.
without a doubt,
Does amazing
She's
work
doing-
with terrible lines.
she is
Right.
given horrible lines and just fucking sells the shit out of it. I was in love. I love Lady Sybil, like
Yes, me too.
with
Lady
all of
Sybil's
my
great.
all of my heart. And I thought she was awesome in this movie, even though she's meant to be like fevery and dying.
yes, and in
Yes.
that first scene, she's pretty spacey, and so I was like, "What's going on?" But
Yeah.
then she explains she's dying of.
You mean
of
she was
fever.
like Kevin Spacey? She was
She's
pretty
very
spacey?
much like Kevin
Yeah.
Spacey.
She's very House of Cards.
One interesting thing, they go out of their way to explain why she has a British accent, which only makes Colin Farrell's Irish accent more glaring.
Yeah, they
Yes.
should never have commented on it at all.
Why not just hire a British actor to play the William Hurt part? You know, like I couldn't
They
figure
got
that
William
out.
Hurt on the hook, you know?
They've
I
got an
guess, like,
American
Hurt-
father, and she was raised in London.
Yeah.
It was very now.
Yeah.
This is also one of those examples where magic is happening and no one reacts. The eye doctor comes over to check her out for old-fashioned eyeglasses,
Sure.
which is whatever. And
She's
then-
supposedly dying any day now, but might as well
Get
be
those
able to
eyeglasses.
read a little better.
Yeah.
And I
those
love, by
eyeglasses.
the way, I do want to
And by
say-
the way, she never wears those
never
glasses.
wears those glasses.
Never wears those
Never wears
glasses.
Time later
those
in the
glasses
movie.
are never even produced.
Yeah,
That's
they're
a good
never,
point.
They are just, it is just a device in order to get her talking about the light.
And then all of a sudden the light comes into the room and then like illuminates everything.
So this is one of many scenes that could go. We don't need it.
yes.
Oh, we definitely don't need it.
And also confusing to me as an audience member going, am I the audience and her seeing this, or is the eye doctor and the father seeing
No,
this as
they
well?
are not seeing it.
They're
this
not
is,
seeing the light.
Because what she's explaining is how because of the fever allows
Right.
her to see the kind of lights that everybody can't see.
Right.
the blah, blah, blah.
But that would
And
make sense. But
which
there's
is-
other parts of the movie where everyone sees the lights
Yes.
being crazy.
Yes.
So,
So
that
I'll add lights to miracles and stars.
Correct.
As
Yes.
like sort of supernatural elements that are underexplained.
yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Very confusing.
And some people can see them sometimes, and some people can't see them sometimes.
Yep. Yeah.
It's a
the
very
mythology is very broken.
yes.
Like Frozen has an easier to follow mythology.
I get Frozen 100%. There's not even a hesitation on that. There isn't even anything super
No question as
confusing.
to how that snowman came to life.
I get it. You know, like I don't question how the snowman
Right.
comes to life, or why Elsa has snow powers, or
Right.
you know, whatever.
Well, we haven't even talked about the fact that you brought up early that the horse is actually a dog posing
Yes.
as a horse. For what fucking reason?
No idea.
No idea.
And the horse, I will say the scenes between Colin Farrell and this horse are amazing. And whenever they cut to a close-up of the horse, I laughed out loud.
I mean,
this is
you could argue
a
that
sad
the-
horse face.
That the movie is a love story between a man and a horse.
And when he's on that horse, going like, "Oh, horse."
Why
What
does
have
he
you
call
got
it
me
a
in?
He never
horse?
bothers to name this horse.
Never names it.
Come on, horse.
Come on, horse. Let's go, horse.
And the horse has a very strong personality, so much so that he'll point him in the right
Yeah,
direction.
sure.
And the horse is the horse God?
The horse is a guardian angel.
Okay, guardian angel.
Yeah,
Got
the
it.
horse is a guardian angel.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's what they explain
And
at
a
a certain
dog.
point. Anyway, so Lady Sybil is dying of consumption. William Hurt is her newspaper magnate father,
Right.
and she lives because she's feverish, she lives in a roof room where it's cold to keep her temperature down. She has a younger sister. The younger sister's afraid she's going to die.
Now hold on to this idea of the younger sister because this is going to come back.
Boy,
Or
what a
you know
treat.
what? Or don't. We'll try and explain it later. So then, then they all
Russell Crowe-
leave.
yes.
They
Well,
all leave
well,
except
first-
for
wait.
Lady Sybil.
We
Go ahead.
got to talk about. Oh, yes.
The family leaves
Right, they
except
leave-
for Lady Sybil,
They
while
leave the dying
Colin Farrell.
girl home alone.
While Colin Farrell is trying to leave town, but the horse won't leave in front of Lady Sybil's house. And Colin Farrell, who's a thief, is like, okay, fine, one more job, and then we're leaving town.
So Colin Farrell gets out
And,
his
and by
grappling
the way,
hook.
this is another time when he's not shocked that the horse is insisting that he rob this particular
Yes,
house,
yes.
and he's just like, okay.
And the horseman,
Like,
the horse
that's
doesn't
kind of a
speak.
big deal when a horse is making it clear to you that you need to rob a
by
house.
the way, the horse, which is his guardian angel, is now an accomplice to multiple robberies.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And by the way, to talk to your point about him being virtuous, it's not. He's not because he quits working for Russell Crowe, but it's undetermined really why. Because he continues to be a thief, so much so that he has a horse full of trinkets, as you hear as a clunky, clunky clunk, and the horse moves
the
around.
big point of contention between Russell Crowe and Colin Farrell is that Colin Farrell wanted to steal rings without cutting off fingers.
Oh, right.
Oh yeah,
that was it. Yes.
that Russell Crowe craved the violence and the bloodlust.
Yeah.
And Colin Farrell wasn't comfortable with that anymore
Yeah.
because he was such a good thief. Anyway,
Yeah.
so
Yes.
Colin Farrell breaks into Lady Sybil's house while Lady Sybil is in a very bizarre erotic bath.
Yes, a giant bath. and he
I
walks-
loved that bathtub
beautiful.
setup.
Beautiful.
And so then suddenly, next thing you know, she's feverish and playing Brahms, and they have what I will describe as one of the only meet cutes I've ever seen that begins with a home invasion.
Oh, yeah.
It is as if Funny Games was a romantic comedy. It was.
He's holding a gun.
He's holding a gun. He's cracking her father's safe, and a floor squeaks, and she's like, "Hello," and he's like, "The floor squeaked." And she's like, I guess it did. I guess I should offer you a cup of tea.
This scene, I only wish we could have our hands on this movie because this scene is the best. The best.
The tea scene.
Yeah. This
No,
is,
this-
Or just the scene where they meet.
the scene where they meet into
Yeah.
the tea scene. That
Yeah.
the whole it's awkward. It's bizarre.
crazy. It's so weird. It's playing.
She's like really into him.
Immediately,
Yeah,
they are in
immediately.
love with each other.
Yes.
He is a threat to her. She should be.
He has a gun and he is in her house.
And
Yes.
she's
And she's
wearing
alone.
like a somewhat transparent nightgown,
Oh, yeah.
which
Yeah.
in 1916,
Ooh,
to
tell me.
entertain a man in that
Yeah.
outfit, that been button.
But
Now,
she's feverish.
that's the question. How much of her behavior is down to this fever? We don't know.
Well, she never seems to be affected by the fever. She just
Right.
seems to be literally hot. Like that is how her fever manifests.
Yes.
It's just in temperature, not in, I'm delusional. She's never seems to be delusional.
Not only that, I
Yeah.
meant to look up consumption and find out if imperviousness to cold is one of the symptoms because she's constantly walking around outside wearing nothing.
Yeah.
and-
Well, that's their whole thing. Is like we
Unperturbed.
have to lower her temperature.
And by the way, William Hurt's like, we have a fever in the house.
Yeah.
And that's all the windows are open. Everyone's wearing their jackets.
So then they have this conversation where they have tea, and this is where she explains that she's from London, and they are falling for each other. Again, he came to rob the house, and he's very upfront about that.
But now he's enjoying some lap sing souchong.
Yeah. And then
Yes.
she says, I'm dying. She says, I'm dying of consumption, and I've never been kissed on the mouth.
And does she bring up that she's never danced before too?
She
Is that
doesn't.
later?
She
Okay.
just says she's never been kissed on the mouth. And then she's like, I don't know why I just said that, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, listen, I'm on the lam. Some guys are trying to kill me. I got to get out of town, but maybe when I'm back. And she goes, by the time you get back, I'll already be dead.
Yes, and the
Just
music.
so matter of fact.
Yep, the music swells under that moment
Yeah.
like it's a romantic moment. It's like, not quite. And that's one of many scenes, and I think that this is one of the challenges of turning a novel into a movie that actually could have taken place anywhere. Like, there's a lot of scenes like that. The fireside chat, the walk in the woods.
Oh, yeah.
Why'd you put it there? I don't know.
Yeah.
It looked pretty.
Yeah.
We had the house.
How did this get made? How did discriminate.
So meanwhile, Russell Crowe is upset. He is very upset, which means it's time to eat oysters and keep them coming.
Oh, yeah.
And up the accent, up the dialect work by 25%.
Oh yeah, this is where I wrote Russell's accent is all over the place.
Yes, because I think it's because he's a little drunk in this scene. Maybe the character is possibly.
He's eating plate upon plate of oysters, just sucking
With his
them
gang.
With his gang,
And they're at a table that is like the head table at a wedding, but at a restaurant.
it's like a long table that's facing all the other tables at the
Yes.
restaurant behind a fire. You would never sit there.
You would never have a table like that
It's
in
like
a restaurant.
Game of Thrones table. Like he's
Right.
at the
Yes, it's
center
the
of
dais.
It's the
these-
red wedding. It's it
Yeah.
is. It's so weird.
And this is my favorite scene where he is upset. He can't figure
Yep.
out where he is. And then he immediately gets mad at the waiter.
Why?
Oh, because he doesn't have a
South African spotted
Yes,
owl.
that's it.
He says, will there be anything else, sir? And Russell Crowe goes, oh yeah, I'd like a South African spotted owl.
Filet.
Braised
a little
on
bit of
both
salt
sides with a
and
little bit of
pepper.
this. Yeah, exactly. And a little bit of parsley on top. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, sir, we don't have any owl. And like in one fell swoop,
He partly morphs into a bit of a monster. His skin
yes.
cracks, revealing monster skin
It
underneath.
was crazy. His
Yeah.
teeth get kind of crazy, right?
but nobody sees that.
Well, do they?
I don't think anybody sees it because nobody reacts.
But it's
but-
unclear whether his stooges have seen this before and they just accept. Yeah, sometimes he kind of half turns into a monster.
I think
We're cool with it.
Well, I think that they have to react because he kills the waiter.
Yeah.
Right.
He breaks the waiter's head, right?
No, he slashes his throat with a knife.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wow.
I think he
missed all
slashes
this.
his
no,
throat
it was
with a
very
knife.
quick.
Okay, yeah. And then and then
there's
uses his blood.
There's a little bit of blood on the table, and then he like is overtaken by like a
Yes. He has a
premonition,
vision. He has a vision.
and he takes the blood and he smears his fingers in it, and then
does the most crude drawing.
Yes.
The most. If you were to describe it, it was almost like the yin and yang sign, like a red,
Barely.
like where
yeah.
the white is, and that's it. And then there's a little bit of a circle. It's very nothing drawing.
and he goes, and he
Go
goes,
find her.
He goes, find the red-haired girl. And Kevin Corrigan's like, what red-haired girl? What are you talking about? He goes, there, this red-haired girl.
That
And he's-
circle of blood
And
on
he's
the
pointing at the
tablecloth.
blood spot on the
Yeah.
tablecloth. Like, there, find her.
So that seems unreasonable until the next scene when somebody using that drawing finds the redheaded girl.
Finds her. There's no even search. He seems to be outside out of her house going,
See, this is what I
there
think.
she is.
I think all of the stooges and lackeys got copies of the blood smear.
Oh,
he
they
doesn't
definitely
have
did.
the original.
No, that actually looked like someone said, I'm
a
duping
copy.
it. Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
So he's like, quick, get this tablecloth, recreate this blood smudge, like, I don't know, 100 times for all our guys.
Find the redheaded girl in New York City, not even a
Yeah.
small town.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
In New York City, at the height where there were a lot of people there.
And again, is this another example of the magic of this universe or just stupid?
I think it's stupid
filmmaking?
because the next minute, Lady Sybil is trying to leave. She's leaving her house to go north to meet her family, and the driver is the one that notices her. She has red hair, and then he pulls a full size. He pulls like a 20 by 14 piece of paper out of his pocket that is the drawing of the blood
right,
smear. And then he's like, "Oh, I got to tell the boys." And then all she does is she goes inside, comes back outside with a couple more suitcases, and Russell Crowe and his men are already. There are no phones.
There, no,
Right.
Hey,
That's true.
Already there.
Well, maybe he has like an old demon phone or
Maybe,
something.
I don't
Maybe he did
know.
it, I think, with the
Magic.
marbles again. And
Yeah.
But yeah, why couldn't he do the marble thing with the
knows?
redheaded girl?
I don't know.
Because that would make sense too, right? So
Yep.
then it makes it very clear that Russell Crowe has paid off her original driver a sum
Right.
that he has felt is enough to retire on, and they're going to take this girl. Now you think, all right, now the purpose of taking this girl is to get Colin Farrell, or is it to kill her?
He's going to kill her, ensuring that Colin Farrell cannot perform his miracle.
Got it.
Oh.
Because he
all right, now
assumes-
this is starting
he
to make
assumes-
sense
Okay,
now.
all right.
Yeah, Russell Crowe assumes that
If he doesn't create his miracle, then he doesn't give 1 point to the good guys. That's
Correct.
essentially that's the whole movie is based on
doesn't
this
help.
very small
Okay,
thing.
so she's dying of consumption. Russell Crowe figures that Colin Farrell's about to use his miracle to
save her.
To save her.
So if he kills her, he can't use his miracle, and that's in some way good for a demon.
That's good for the bad guys.
And am I right or wrong in assuming, was this a part of the narration at the top, or is this me just thinking about something different? Where it's like, you never know who you're going to save. Will they become the president? Will they become a this? Will they become...
He says that in that scene, I think.
Yeah,
or
like...
something like that.
Who are you supposed to be?
Oh, no, he says that later when they're having that little horse dance by the Brooklyn Bridge.
Oh, right.
Who was
Yes,
she
yeah,
going to
yeah,
be?
yeah.
The Pope? The whatever.
Yeah, so...
Grandmother of the first man on Mars.
Yes, amazing line. By the way, that's one of my favorite scenes in the movie too. The horse head-to-head fight. It's like it's two horses walking, like being like a horse intimidation scene.
Yeah.
But so that I think that's basically it. Like he needs. So what if this woman was to have the president that does something amazing, the mother of the president that does something amazing? That's why he needs to kill her.
No. He just wants to kill her. He only wants to kill her to prevent.
But that's what I'm saying, to prevent the miracle, because the miracle
Correct.
could have giant consequences.
It could, but it also could be, which he says also to him, he says, or is it true love? Or is it something...
Oh, so just true love?
It could also be just like this true love.
This guy has got to work hard in this in the city. That's
So
You
Russell
take
Crowe
two demons
spends...
for New York, at least.
Russell Crowe spends, a very long time explaining to Lady Sybil what's up.
For no reason.
Meanwhile...
One of maybe I would say 4 to 5 times in the film where someone takes a break to basically give about 2 pages.
Do not
of
get me
exposition.
started on the library scene. The library scene was the craziest scene in a movie I've seen in a very long time.
In my opinion, that whole part of the movie took place after the movie. That was a separate movie.
To me, also, I felt that library
Once Jennifer
scene,
Connelly's in it, it's madness.
It's a whole different movie.
Well, I thought that library scene was like reshoot central. Like, oh fuck, we don't. No one knows what's going on. Can we have
This
a
doesn't
scene
make any sense.
that
I got an idea.
And it's just
Go
like
in there and explain the movie
Colin
really quickly.
Colin Farrell's like, I just have 3 pages of a monologue in a row that is just describing the movie we're in.
It's something.
Oh my god, that scene, I was cackling. That scene was. It made anyway. So Russell Crowe, his intention is to kill her. He spends so much time talking that Colin Farrell has time enough to both talk through his love troubles with Graham Greene.
Yes, and by the way, he's also eating clams on the dock too. Weirdly.
In like Brooklyn.
Yeah,
and also ride his horse all the way to the Upper West Side where Lady Sybil is.
Yes,
all during one conversation between. Anyway, so Russell Crowe finally has the knife out, and Colin Farrell rides by on the horse. Nobody stops him. Nobody shoots at him. Nobody's like, "Hey, look, it's him on the horse." He just grabs Lady Sybil and they jump away.
Well, and Russell Crowe sees him approaching on the white horse, which he knows is a magical horse, coming toward them, and he doesn't act any faster. He doesn't do it. This guy has a slow reaction.
He doesn't stab her. He's
all full of
attack
oysters.
him.
His belly is full of oysters. He can't move that quickly.
And he seems totally surprised when he snatches her up and they take off. He goes, "Ah!" I saw it coming.
Now
this brings us to
this is the horse battle that happens here, right?
No,
that's later.
No,
we're
much
about
later.
to meet our surprise
The judge.
guest.
Oh yes.
And really the most extraordinary scene in the film, I think.
Yes, Russell Crowe goes to meet with the judge. He has an appointment, and the judge lives under the Brooklyn Bridge.
I think this judge is Satan. Yes.
Yes.
It's Lucifer.
Well, his name is Lou. So
He calls him Lucifer.
Does he call him Lou?
Yeah,
I
he
thought he
calls
called
him
him Lou.
Lucifer a couple
Okay.
of times.
Okay.
He might also call him Lou.
And at first, when he walks in, you're like, "What do you want?"
No, first when he walks in, there is an old man with a stitched up mouth.
I forgot about that guy. Oh yeah.
Fuck, is that the guy
First,
that answers the door?
The door opens and it's like Alfred from Batman, only his mouth is all stitched up in a
Oh my
gross
god,
way.
that was amazing.
Yeah.
And then he walks in. He's like, "What do you want with me?" And then all of a sudden, a very small little light comes on.
Yeah.
Then there's Will Smith sitting on a chaise lounge, reading a book.
That was a little clever reversal that just didn't work.
Yeah.
Click. What's going on? Like,
And Will
hang on,
Smith-
I don't understand. Why is his voice scary in the dark?
All the accents are all over the place. Everybody's crazy. But I do believe Russell Crowe or Colin Farrell or Lady Sybil, I do believe they are all period appropriate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Will Smith is incapable of not sounding and acting contemporary.
So there's a lot. I want to try to figure out what happened behind the scenes. My first theory was that Will Smith shows up to play Lucifer in 1916, and he has a very today hairstyle. And somebody said to him, "Can we cut your hair?" And he said, "Fuck that." And they said, "Okay, well then let's go with it and put a Jimi Hendrix T-shirt on him and give him earrings and just say that he exists out of time."
Yeah, because he has that whole monologue where he says, "Now? You ask me for now? You don't understand time." And his voice is getting deeper and bassier and weirder. "You don't understand. Someone like you doesn't, in the blink of an eye, thousands of years, blah, 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 blah." But I was still like, wait, but you sound too contemporary.
But that's why they put him in the Jimi Hendrix shirt.
Yeah.
Because he is of now.
Wait, was he in the Jimi Hendrix shirt in the first one?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's wearing a Jimi
He's
Hendrix
always
T-shirt
wearing
in
that
1916.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he
I didn't notice
traverses through
that.
time.
I only
then
noticed
later-
it in the
I'm now
later.
confusing elements of the stuff that I've just watched in True Detective because there's a time element now.
Oh,
in that.
really? Oh,
And so now I got to remember which was which.
But my second theory, once he pops up again in 2014 later in the movie, is that maybe they shot that scene first and they were like, "Okay, time to change you over to 1916." And he was like, "I don't think so.
I need to get home.
I got to be out of here.
I got
by
to pick up
6."
Jaden.
So
I gotta go.
it's this or nothing.
It's this or nothing. I'm Satan. What difference does it make?
Yeah, it is odd that he does not.
He's in the same wardrobe in 2014 as he is in 2016.
It's one day. It was one day, and,
and
definitely a one-day
everything
shoot.
that his,
it's like Bruce Willis in Expendables 2. It's
Well, it's like Marlon Brando in Heat.
Oh yeah, right.
You know,
his special effect is not special effect or whatever, but like is just he turns on and off like light bulbs with a string.
Yeah.
Like he lives in a dark room and he just like turns on an Edison bulb with his.
But that's when he's being a judge too. Like he's like, well, all right. He's like, obviously Russell Crowe's like, I need to get up to the Lake of the Coheries to kill this woman. And he's like, well, do you want a judgment? All right, I'll walk over here to this judge stand.
this
click,
weird
click,
railing he has,
and it turns on the light, and then he's able to judge him in this moment.
Yeah.
They have their conversation. He lets him go.
He denies him.
Oh, he denies him. Right?
him.
Yes, he denies him. He
He
lets him
says,
go.
"Find another way."
I gotta say the design of Satan's office space was a bit of a punt.
Oh
Yes. Just kind of like a stark bat cave. It was like there was water around it and a chaise lounge, and that was it.
Yeah.
With,
it was disappointing.
Yeah.
This is also the scene where Russell Crowe's character, a 1916 gangster, tells us shit happens.
Shit happens.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. I wrote down shit happens
Yep, so
because
did I.
shit happens means that he's contemporary too.
I don't
that
know.
shit happens
Yeah.
is not a 1916 phrase.
Not at all.
So maybe are they all wearing like Jimi Hendrix T-shirts but Russell Crowe's is undercover in 1916?
I don't think so. I think that's just bad writing.
That was
Or something
or an
that Russell
improvised
Crowe. Yeah,
moment.
it did feel a little improvised because it felt like there was a little bit of a wink. Like,
Yeah.
I'm having fun now.
So now Lady Sybil and Colin Farrell have gotten away on Pegasus.
And they're in Lake of the Coheries. This beautiful.
Yeah, they're up in this beautiful place where the
Super thick ice.
Very thick, but not thick enough that a girl with with tuberculosis could melt the snow with her. At any point, just wherever she's walking is just becoming
it
puddle.
becomes melt. She's
That's how
so
hot
hot
this fever is.
that she melts through everything.
Yeah.
Anyway, so okay, so William Hurt is basically like, okay, you rode up on a again.
Oh, by the way,
you
I
rode
just
up-
want to bring this up. The Will Smith character is not in the book.
What the fuck
Yes.
is happening?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
Why? How do you even introduce this?
That's what I'm saying
What
about
was this point? Like, because
Like,
they
this
didn't know
book-
they had
this-
Will Smith.
this
like,
movie
why
and-
did they introduce this character to do what?
Make Will Smith the William Hurt character if you want to give him a cameo as a father and make it even more
It
confusing.
feels like they were like, it's hard to turn a novel into a movie. Let's make it a lot harder by introducing nonsensical elements.
Yeah.
Well,
I
we've
mean,
got a demon. Maybe what we need. You know what we need? Let's tell the writer we need the demon to have a boss.
Right.
oh my god.
So they ride up to us. William Hurt, Colin Farrell has basically abducted this girl, ridden on a horse all the way up the river
To her parents' country
to her
estate.
parents' country estate, and they are like they are not phased at all.
Nope, not at all.
Not at all.
Who's not phased?
William Hurt.
Right,
William Hurt's
right.
basically like, what are your intentions with my daughter? Not like,
Oh, but
who
that's
the fuck are you?
But that's another great scene. He's like, "What are your intentions? What do you do? Who are you? Where do you come from? Who made your suit?" And he's like, I'm over here. I did this. I have my suit's over this. And it was like a weird.
That's a hell of a scene. Like William Hurt is really robotic in that scene, and that's also the scene where we have the long conversation about whether it's fillet or fillet.
Well, and I was confused.
Or claret or claret.
Yeah.
And then that was like, to me, I was like, well, okay, is he? What is the power play of this? He's saying, I say it's fillet, so it is fillet, or is he saying I'm testing because you're too poor to know how rich I am? Like, I didn't quite understand.
I will say this for sure: the actors did not know any better than you do. What the point of that dialogue?
Yeah.
was.
I agree.
They didn't settle on it.
I really feel like there's a lot of favors called in, and it was like, trust me, this is when we put this together in editing.
The book was huge. Then there's the furnace scene.
Another scene that could just go and have no impact on the movie at all. Take it out.
By the way, because again,
it must have been a huge part of the book in order for them to keep.
The whole thing in this movie is that Colin Farrell, while not being a good guy,
I just had a realization. By the way, this movie is Harry Potter.
Oh.
Colin Farrell is Harry. He's an orphan.
Yeah.
He's an orphan. He's raised by people who aren't his parents.
Okay.
He is the chosen one.
Yeah.
Who can save the lives of everybody, kind of. He's like the chosen one. But he has to go off to this like estate in order to realize the true extent of his powers. So this estate is basically Hogwarts. I'm telling you, this movie is Harry Potter. This movie is Harry Potter.
I feel like the only reason why the furnace scene is in there is to do the microfiche scene, because he sets up early on. He's like, "I'm good with. I can."
He says, "I always wanted to be a mechanic." He says to her, at some point.
Why?
Yeah.
For what reason? I don't need. Why do we need to know that he's good with machines?
He could just he knows machines. And like by just touching them,
I'm
he
guessing
can
in the
fix
book,
machines.
his like magical power was like machine stuff.
I thought that this fire in the furnace was like one thing that the powers of hell could do in this sacred area. Like I thought maybe that's sort of what was going on.
I like that.
But it doesn't get paid off.
But by the way, I also was confused. Like that was a giant mansion, but they were treating it like it was the engine of a giant ship that was going to explode.
Yes.
Like, did houses explode from furnaces?
Probably.
Like,
it was like a
did.
steam furnace. Like it could explode. Yeah,
but
I
the
think
idea
that's
of somebody
possible.
saying, if my house is going to burn down, I'm going to burn down with it is so absurd.
And him saying, "My wife built this house.
My wife picked out every window dressing,
every pillow.
Therefore, I'm going to burn alive in it."
He comes in. Colin Farrell comes in, saves the day with the furnace. William Hurt gives him a big hug, and then Colin Farrell is sketching the red-haired girl.
Colin Farrell's also doing the same drawing.
The same drawing that Russell Crowe did.
By the way, guys, we are not even into this. I guess
I know.
I don't. We can jump ahead at any point.
But
at this point, I really do want to figure this out, because he and Lady Sybil have a real romance. They go for a walk in the cold. He teaches her how to
They dance.
He teaches her how to control her breathing so she doesn't get so hot. Mm-hmm. They go to a New Year's Eve dance, and then they fuck.
Now, my question is this. I had a question. Was his... This is going to sound, vulgar. Who cares?
Yeah.
Was his dick too warm? Like, did he kill her because he...
No. She was poisoned by the angel.
Oh, right. Of course. I'm sorry.
Wait a second. Wait, what's
his dick?
Hold on. Okay, this is a June moment.
That
You're
was
having
a June moment. I did. I forgot about the poisoning. I forgot about the poisoning.
In your mind, you were like, his dick was so hot, he exacerbated her fever.
I did think so. I did. Because I thought because this is what I thought. And I remember why I thought that. Because I thought that the devil, it was like more of like a Romeo and Juliet thing. I thought that they put that stuff in her glass and she was going to appear to be dead or something like that.
I see.
Because I kind of missed when he was having that deal with
the
it.
way that the poison worked, that she was poisoned with, is it will only kill you if you get excited. That's what he establishes in Bryant Park. I think it was Bryant Park.
Yeah,
that's what he said. He's like, don't worry, it'll only kill her if she gets excited. Or something. You have to get pretty excited to get
that.
Which is weird.
So Russell Crowe is hoping that she would have a beautiful night out dancing and
why not
sex.
just give her a poison that'll kill her regardless?
Because it's special angel poison.
Why did the angel do that? And why is the angel a cater
He's a
waiter?
fallen angel. He's a fallen angel.
He's a fallen. No, I thought he was a
former
demon.
angel.
A demon who became an angel.
I thought he was an angel who became a human.
An angel who became human.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
that's
got
what
it.
it was.
So he had the special crystals.
Okay, this is where I
and
have
the crystals were also magic. They were magic crystals. They were not like
What crystals?
He put that thing in her glass.
That was the poison.
That's what I'm saying. But it was like it had like a special
I see what
light.
you're saying.
It wasn't
I see what
just
you're
like
saying.
it wasn't like rat poison.
So
like,
that
which
poison-
he could have done easily.
Yes, easily.
The poison plus getting fucked will kill you.
Yes,
I guess so. But here's my question, and this is a very important question that I need to know the answer to. Is consumption contagious?
No,
she says it's not.
She says it's not early
She
on.
did?
Mhm, yes.
Okay.
Did when
she
she
said,
meets
"Don't
with
worry, it's not contagious."
Okay, good.
And he
good.
goes, I
that-
know because my daughter died of it too. That's the eye doctor.
Oh.
Or sister.
How is
Thank
it
you.
not contagious? What the hell
I don't know.
how could it not
I
be
couldn't
contagious?
figure that out because I was like, I get it. You're in love with this girl, but like, you're gonna get consumption, bro.
He didn't
Yeah.
care. He was in love with her. Where was he going to go?
All right, so she is dead.
She's dead.
He can't use his miracle
She's
to
dead.
save her from
He tries
consumption.
to. He brings her
Oh,
to
yeah.
the princess bed. The
Oh,
little
right.
girl.
The little girl
Oh,
should-
Lady Sybil has a little sister
Yeah.
who is a little bit like all over the place, all over.
Guys, by the way, I just typed in consumption. It is a potentially fatal and contagious disease.
Thank you.
Well, maybe
Yes.
they didn't know that in 1916. I guess how did they explain to themselves how each other are getting it if it's not contagious? If a disease is not contagious,
Yeah.
how can somebody else have it?
Who
Only
knows?
one person would have it.
That's a big get there too. I mean, that to have a disease in a movie where like it's
But by
not
the way, all she
Yeah.
does is like handle her younger sister,
Yeah.
who's probably now going to die.
Oh well, no, she's not.
Wait a minute, you know
Wow.
what?
She says two things. She says it's not contagious, and I've been locked in this house. I can't see anybody. I can't talk to anybody. I can't kiss anybody.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make any sense.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
In
so
short, it
she
makes no sense.
dies, and you think he takes. Oh, the little girl, Willa, the sister, has made a princess bed so that when she dies, she says to Colin Farrell, when she dies, bring her here and kiss her, and that's you will bring her back to life or
Yes.
something, whatever. Right. And so she dies after he bones her.
Yes.
He bones her
He bones
to
her to
death.
Bones her to death because his dick is too hot.
His hot dick kills her. His hot
Tips her temperature over the edge.
He takes her temperature with his manometer, and she overheats. Deadsville. He carries her down to the princess bed. He kisses her. And she doesn't wake up, and then she is put in the ground.
quickly, very quickly.
Yep.
Buried.
Now I guess during all this time there was a lot of time to get her buried and everything. Colin Farrell, I guess that's the time that it takes before Russell Crowe, because Russell Crowe can't leave New York. So then Colin Farrell's like, well, I guess I'll go back to New York now.
Well,
right?
but this
the
is what's
cemetery is in New York.
Right.
But what's interesting here is at this point I have now forgotten about the horse/dog.
Yes.
And he says,
By the way, the horse never turns into a dog. If you're listening,
Right, it's never becomes a dog.
You never see that.
They
It's
just
just a horse.
call it a dog.
Yeah.
Because it's the dog of the West.
it's a horse, but we understand it's a
but
dog.
it sometimes appears as a horse.
I see, okay.
It only to us only as a horse.
But
Correct.
this whole time that the two of them have been up at this country house, which they got to by way of horse,
Yes.
the horse has apparently been back at Grand Central Station. At some point,
At some point,
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
that is true. You're right.
The horse has been
Well, the
hanging
horse
out at
can
Grand
fly
Central
and
Station.
they do magical stuff. So yeah,
but
I'm
why
sure.
not stick with them? I don't know. But
Okay,
regardless.
I have a real question though, and this is a very real question. So let's do. I'm just going to jump through a couple things.
Yeah.
Okay.
She dies. Colin Farrell comes back to New York and is like, "Fuck it, I'm here. Get ready." Russell Crowe's like, "He's back. I'm going to go get him."
Yeah.
So Russell Crowe comes to kill Colin Farrell. Colin Farrell turns the horse loose and is like, "Get out of here, horse!"
I don't know
the
why.
horse flies away.
Yeah.
He doesn't get on it and fly away with it.
No, he
don't know
should-
why.
explanation.
Should have gotten on it and
Should have
flown away.
100% gotten on the horse.
Maybe
Anyway,
he's suicidal at that
By
point.
the way, I did love this moment because they use a I forget, like a bolo, or it's like one of those
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
whips
yeah.
with like balls.
Two
on the
balls
end.
on the end of it,
Yeah,
yeah.
and they were able, like they quickly like knocked that horse
Yeah.
out.
There's some
with the,
CGI with that horse.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
pretty good. That horse was very
budget.
talented.
So then Russell Crowe and Colin Farrell have a fight on the bridge.
And you were thinking, because he does say in the beginning, like I'm gonna take my time. I'm gonna kill
Right.
this guy right.
He is driven to kill him, first of all.
Yes.
Definitely make sure he dies. And secondly, to relish it and make it painful. These are two things we
Again,
understand about
this
this.
is 1906. It's now 1917, probably.
Yes, and then he just
Oh, yeah, because we've had a New Year's.
headbutts him to death.
Yeah,
Not even death, just headbutts him like
He
poof,
headbutts him
poof,
4
poof,
times
poof.
and then pushes him over the edge of the Brooklyn Bridge.
Now this is where I have a giant question coming.
Oh,
in.
you
This is-
do?
Yes.
Oh,
a
I don't know why
giant,
you would.
Giant
I don't
question.
understand why you would have a question here. Okay, go ahead, Paul.
So he falls off the bridge. He gets in the water, and he is now. There's a part in the. This is where I'm confused. Are we led to believe that he immediately pops up from the water? No one checks in to see if he's
No.
dead or drowned, because he shouldn't have been dead. He just kind of fell off a bridge and got his head hit a couple times.
Right.
And
Well, I think they think he's dead.
they think he's dead.
I
Okay.
think for sure Russell Crowe and his crew are like, and handle.
Well,
Now,
they-
we know because
but-
we've seen a movie before that he's going to pop up out of the water.
Exactly. And by the
Russell
way-
Crowe has never
but-
seen a
but
movie. It's
here's the-
1917.
here's the thing.
But by the way, stay there for 2 more minutes and just go. Well, let's watch.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
sure.
have, but I think I'm going to cut. I think I might cut in front of you.
Yeah.
He doesn't crawl out of the water until 2014.
No, that's my thing. He crawls out in 1916 and isn't alive for 100 years with no memory.
Yes.
He's alive for 100 years?
Yes.
This is super confusing.
Oh, wait, I
That's
thought he crawled
super
out
yes.
in
No, that's what I thought too. And then
2014.
today I realized he was in New York drawing on the sidewalk for 100 years.
I think it's 100
because
years.
It is 100 years, I know that. But
So
He
the
has no
fall,
memory.
The fall from the bridge gives him amnesia.
Correct.
Yes.
And he is also immortal for reasons that I'm not sure about.
And also then, but this is the real question, why isn't Russell Crowe ever bumping into him in the streets of
What?
New York?
No,
Russell
guys,
Crowe doesn't-
No, wait.
hang on.
I have a problem with this.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, Russell Crowe doesn't realize he's still alive
Because he doesn't know he's who
until
he is.
Colin Farrell realizes who he is.
The minute
Got it,
Colin
got it.
Farrell
I'm not
writes,
saying it makes sense.
The minute
Yes.
Colin Farrell writes Peter Lake ?
That was
on the mirror.
best moment of the question mark. He wrote
Question mark. He
Russell
wrote his
Crowe-
own question mark. That's when Russell
the
Crowe
question
is
mark.
like, wait a minute.
Russell Crowe in another part of the city suddenly goes, "Oh shit, he's alive," which is triggered by him realizing he's
Okay,
alive.
But by the
Oh,
way,
wait, I have a question.
wait. But see, if he's writing Peter Lake question mark, his spidey sense tingles. But when he's hiding in Grand Central, he needs to move things around. He needs to move gemstones. It's weird. Like even Russell Crowe's
Yeah,
ability to be.
yeah.
checked
I think
into
Russell
him.
Crowe is tuned into his existence but can't pinpoint it unless he's got
Okay.
his gems. I don't know,
But this
man.
is very important. We have, for 100 years in New York,
Yes.
a person walking around, living
No,
someplace,
I don't
feeding
think this is
himself.
true.
By the way, I'm just looking on the Wikipedia
You
page.
are?
Yes, it says. He miraculously survives, but wanders around the city with amnesia for a century.
But wait a
Drawing
second.
chalk art of
Feeding
a redheaded
himself,
girl.
clothing himself, living somewhere.
How? And never aging.
Never aging.
Never aging and not questioning that.
Not
in fact-
questioning it, and at some point, little girl says to him, "What's your name?" And he just very matter-of-factly says, "I don't know."
So
And
for
by the way,
100 years,
that's 100 years. That's
That's
like
100
For 100
He
years,
hasn't made
didn't
any
even
choices.
He didn't
Right.
choose everybody calls me buddy.
Yeah.
That is what it would be.
Yeah, I'm like, what?
He makes no friends.
Okay, see
but
that?
yeah, but he does
I have,
seem like.
I have real problems with this now.
Yeah.
I have real fucking problems
Yeah.
with this now.
It's a serious
because,
problem.
Because I was on board for the magical realism of fall in the water in 1916.
And that's what I thought.
Come
he
out
goes that-
in 2014.
And that's what I thought. And that's how I
You
saw it
preferred
last
that.
night because it made sense.
Makes
it
a
made
little more
It makes
sense.
like a time continuum.
Well,
or,
we would still be sitting here going, "What was he doing under the water for 100 years?"
Sure. Well, maybe he fell through a time portal
Oh,
in the
okay.
falling down.
Either way, I would have bought that more than the pragmatic, practical, legitimate concerns of an amnesiac living in New York City for a century.
But he
And
clearly,
never aging.
Never aging, and never having friends.
But
How
by the
does
way,
he
he
make a
has
living.
But he has an apartment because you see that one
Yes.
scene where he kind of goes into
Yep.
the closet and gets out a jacket.
Yep.
He affords the apartment based on coins that people throw at him because he keeps drawing this redheaded
Redheaded
woman
girl
on
on
the
the
can't
sidewalk.
be it. That can't be it.
His drawings are really good, though.
And there's a lot of ways to get along cheaply in New York.
By
And by the way, they
is
don't-
that what he was doing in 1923?
Yes.
Like, what the
Yes.
fuck are we talking? He's lived through the Depression.
But
he's
again-
lived through.
Did he
through
serve in World War
World
II?
War
Did he
II?
serve in Vietnam?
What? I mean, like, is that another part of the book that is cut
How
out?
is he eating? How
did he
what's
function
going
in the world?
But again, I
he has
will
no
say-
ID.
Right, no
and
ID.
think that when he gets to the library and they're like, sure, if you want to look at the microfiche, you got to use an ID.
This is
And
the
he's-
first time it's been a problem
It
for
looks
him
like-
in 100 years.
He's like, oh boy, well, I guess I'm fucked here. Like, really, bro? Really, bro?
It's never come up
for
before.
100 years. You haven't had ID.
His life was simple. He lived in a great high-rise apartment and drew on the street. That was it.
I need
grew out his
somebody
hair.
who read this book to write the fucking on the forums and explain this
Yeah, we really
pile
need-
of garbage moment right here.
I'm sure. By the way, I'm sure the book is amazing. As a matter of fact, I remember that someone. I'm going to read you a thing that Akiva Goldsmith says, or Goldsman says. Okay.
This is the screenwriter.
This is a screenwriter and director
who has proven himself competent in other films.
Yes. He does say that the movie is kind of unfilmable. That's why he took out 300 pages.
Whoa!
So 300 pages of that book is not accounted for in this
Oh, I
film.
want a movie.
I
Can we
will
make a
read you-
movie that is just those 300 pages?
When someone asked him, are you the right man to direct this film? He goes, this is an amazing answer. I'm the kind of romantic that likes to find the meaning in things just in its natural course. Life is sufficiently hard, and if you can find the hope underneath that, there's the connectedness, and for some reason then, that's comfort. That's what I've learned, and I think that's the feeling in this movie.
And was
Okay.
that then used as the ending narration?
This makes no sense
let me
either.
paraphrase that. Will you give me the question?
Yes. Are you the right man to direct this film?
I think he basically said I'm the guy that they made the checkout to.
Yeah, I took their money.
Okay, so because now I have another huge problem.
Yes.
Okay.
So when Colin Farrell starts to have a tinkling,
Yeah, I like that.
inkling rather of who
I like
he
a
might
tinkling.
be, he remembers the Grand Central Station of it all.
Yes.
And so the first thing he does, which is now we've caught up to the first scene we saw,
Yeah.
which is that he goes into that attic area of Grand Central Station, he moves aside the board, and he finds the box. And
Yes.
the box has in it his baby blanket, the little ship thing,
Which has no
City of
significance.
Justice,
No significance, yeah.
City
At
of
all.
Justice,
Yeah.
and
But it is brought to you. It is brought to light so much as if it has a lot of
well,
significance.
it will have significance
does.
later. Okay,
Well,
but
yeah.
in that box is a chocolate from New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
He never went back to Grand Central after New Year's Eve.
He did because that's where the horse was hanging out. And now I understand why they
Right,
told
yes.
us this stupid fact that the horse has been hanging out at Grand Central Station.
'Cause
Where does
that's-
a horse hang out at Grand Central
That's
Station?
when he put
So-
the chocolate in the
Yeah.
box.
So she died, and he went back to his little home there, and he's like, "Well, I'm going to save this chocolate for good."
From the night I fucked
You
a
know
girl
what?
to death and
You
put it
know
in this
what,
box
guys?
with my baby blanket.
You fucking shot that scene, put it in the goddamn movie, because he pulls that chocolate out, and I was like, fuck you. There's no way that chocolate is in there.
100-year-old chocolate.
So then he goes using the chocolate as his only clue.
Yes.
He goes in search of answers.
In search of...
Oh, well, we didn't talk about the moment, though, where he's just kind of wandering around the park and bumps into a little young girl. Now, meanwhile, his best friend or his good close friend at Grand Central Station, a black man who is magical. We don't know how he's
He's
magical.
another like guardian angel type person.
Right. It's very much like that movie, The Adjustment Bureau. You don't know there's certain and so he's standing not more than I would say 2 feet away from Colin Farrell.
Uh-huh.
I guess he has amnesia, so he doesn't remember him.
Correct.
Okay,
Right.
that's why he doesn't recognize him.
And he's flipping the coin. He's saying, "Come on, Pete. Come on, Pete. Here's your change.
Here's your change. Flips
Pete."
a magic coin.
And then the
And
little
then
girl
facilitates, finally, after 100 years. Why did it take that long? I don't know. After 100 years, he facilitates the meeting of Colin Farrell and the little girl who
Yes.
he is meant, in reality,
Yes.
to use his
the
miracle
real
on.
redheaded girl. The real redheaded girl.
This is the real-
Who is also dying of
cancer.
Now,
which is
cancer,
not contagious.
Which is the 2014 consumption.
Yes.
Let's face it. And by the way, also at some point we learned that Colin Farrell is Lady Sybil's miracle or something like that.
Yes.
And maybe that's why he's become immortal. He cannot die because he is her miracle.
Yes, because
Well, I thought-
in dying, she gave him life. He cannot be killed.
No.
Yes.
I thought the whole thing was he has a miracle in him,
Oh.
and he won't die until he gave it to that redheaded girl.
No, Lucifer says to Will Smith in the second scene says
Yeah.
to Russell Crowe, "You were too short-sighted. You thought you were ruining his miracle.
right.
You didn't account for the fact that it was her death was her miracle, and her death or her miracle protected him. He cannot be killed."
Okay.
Got
And that's
it.
why.
So everyone
deal,
is capable of miracles then at all points.
That's why Russell Crowe then makes the deal.
To
We are going to fight
Can I be
to
a
the
street
one
fighter?
to the one true death, and that means Russell Crowe has to become mortal.
And then his 3 little shaves go away from the back of his head. His cool 80s haircut that Jason really liked goes away. Now he's mortal, so he can have a fist fight. Oh boy! So baby cancer.
I'm sorry, but the little girl, the cancer-ridden little girl, is Jennifer Connelly's daughter.
Yeah.
Then they.
By the way,
they
don't you
meet
get
in
that they're like? I feel like the movie was pushing them to almost kiss. Like I was like, is he gonna have to kiss this little baby?
Oh,
on
I
them
thought
now?
that was 100% gonna happen.
I felt like that was like I was like, I feel uncomfortable with this.
yeah,
It's
Let
like,
me also say, by the way, do not ask a child actor to have a seizure on film. That was super
the
awkward.
best moment
That
of the
was awkward.
movie.
That was really uncomfortable. That was. I'll be June for a second. That was upsetting. But what happens is they have a weird meeting in the park at night, and then they separate from each other, and then he's on the search to figure out the mystery of the chocolate. He goes to the library, not to the library, to the newspaper library, or whatever. And he's like, I gotta find out what's up with this chocolate. And the guy's like, well, you can't without ID. And
the guy gives him actually two pieces of ID, so it's
sorry.
really hard.
Yeah, and
a waiting period.
And
there's a microfiche waiting period.
Yeah, it's like a guns.
Like
guns
a 2-week
and,
waiting period.
Guns and microfiche.
To keep
you need
psychopaths
to do it.
from looking at microfiche. But in the meantime, Colin Farrell, between the first meeting with Jennifer Connelly and her daughter and the second, Colin Farrell has mostly remembered who he is and has now cut his hair and is wearing his old clothes from the teens.
Yes.
Right.
So he now looks identical to himself in the 19
Which
teens.
is very confusing.
And but he's living in so
well, when he meets Jennifer Connelly in the library section of it, and he has a 2-page explanation of what happened up to the movie till now, there is a great moment. He's like, "What are you researching?" She's like, "The cure for cancer."
I guess.
She also has a line.
I guess.
There are so many regulations these days. God, a lot of weird lines.
This scene in particular, he is just monologuing.
I mean,
and it's all run-on sentences.
I think you're right about reshoots. That
was a reshoot. This is definitely a reshoot.
Yeah.
And then she believes him.
Yeah.
She brings him back to the microfiche. They find the pictures in the newspaper of William Hurt and his daughter, and then that's when Colin Farrell starts to cry.
I can only imagine, by the way, if you're listening to this and you did not see the movie, you must be like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, even talking it through, I'm like, wow.
Now we're in 2014 for a long time. We've settled into 2014.
For a bit.
This is like at least a half an hour of the
Jennifer
movie.
Connelly then flips the page and sees a picture of Colin Farrell and
by the
Lady
way,
Sybil.
And when were these pictures taken? Because I didn't
remember
see
that
any
picture being
cameras
taken.
taken.
Never.
And by the way, that's the easiest thing to set up.
Yep.
Like they're at
Right.
this New Year's
Picture
Eve
day.
thing. Picture at
Flash.
New Year's Eve flash, just one flash.
Nope.
And these are like weirdly, they're not even in their New Year's Eve.
No, they're
get-ups.
just outdoor pictures.
Who's
but also,
taking these
who's
pictures?
taking pictures in the teens outside in the winter?
Yeah.
Nobody.
And they were
The equipment wouldn't have worked.
And you're like, oh, take a picture. Oh, Lady Sybil, take a picture with this stranger that just came to our house for this afternoon. Like, it's not, there's no even.
It's
they
so
were at
stupid.
an event where they could have easily gotten a
Take the
picture.
at the New Year's
Okay,
Eve party.
so
They dropped the ball.
Like, very much like The Shining. It should have been
Yep.
everyone at the
Love
New Year's
that.
Eve party,
Love
and it
that.
would have been a great bump.
Jennifer Connelly believes him to have been from the past.
Of course. He's
and
wearing
is-
the same fucking outfit.
And is again unfazed.
Nope. Never
Right.
gets.
Nope.
And basically, he's like, do you want to come over for dinner?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I got to figure out who I am some more, so I'll see you later.
And not
she
before they go upstairs though.
Yeah.
They go upstairs and meet like the kind of Katharine Graham character who's running the paper.
Who, if you do the
character-
math,
yeah.
is like
104 years old.
Yes.
She ought to be about 104 years old.
Because-
being played by an actress who's about 85.
Because what you
still
realize,
running the paper.
Still running
like
a newspaper
really
at
running it.
104
Like,
years old.
she is the little sister of Lady Sybil, all grown up and now is an old woman.
and you
she
think,
sees, go ahead.
So go ahead.
She sees Colin Farrell and she goes, Peter Lake.
Someone she hasn't seen in 100 years and
she
who
hasn't
has not
seen
aged.
in 100 years.
She goes, well.
Well.
This man
look who is unchanged,
exactly the
unaged,
same.
standing in my lobby, and she's like, "Come here, give me a hug, you."
And then immediately brings him back to the house.
No, she did drop a thing.
Yeah,
she did drop a thing.
Now, here's the thing. You introduce a character that's 105 years old. You think that she's going to play a pivotal role
Nope.
in this movie. Nope. Not at all. She
Not at
basically has a cameo.
Oh yeah.
And then it's like,
She
okay,
looks
bye.
out the window and tells us something incomprehensible about stars.
Yep.
That means that she also is aware of stars, but she has no real knowledge of stars because she was not with consumption, and and her sister died.
It's madness. So then she kept the table and the teacups.
Yes.
Who cares?
Who cares?
They have some tea, and she's like, I feel like,
But
I'm
not
never
even
get-
the same tea.
Not even the same tea. She's like, I feel like I'm never going to see you again. And he's like, well,
Yeah, you
yep,
won't.
you're
Yeah,
right.
you won't.
Laters.
Yeah.
He high fives her. They fucking walk out of there, and he and Jennifer Connelly. Then they split up.
Yes.
Then they split up and then I was like, why are they splitting up?
Well,
she's like, I live on 12th Street. Do you want to come eat chicken? And he's like, no, I got to go. You said, I got to go keep figuring out who
I got a mystery to solve. See you later. And then he decides, maybe I will have some of that chicken.
And
on
then
12th
tracks
Street.
her down by
On
her
12th
last name and the fact that she lives on 12th Street.
He
12th
walks all of
Street.
12th Street.
And checked every. That's that is a giant job.
That's a fuck you.
Yeah.
That's a fuck you to New York City.
Like
right
all
there.
she should have said is like, I live on 12th and 5th.
Yep.
Like,
Right.
Just say the intersection.
Yes.
Why even just 12th? It's
Yeah,
just 12th.
12th Street is so long.
But that line of dialogue where he goes, "You're the only gamely on 12th Street, and I do like chicken," felt like something they had to drop in there to explain how the fuck he ends up on that doorstep. And it was a mistake. A mistake was made.
So then we
So
see the baby have the seizure.
Big mistake.
And that's when he realizes the baby has red hair.
And the red
that's when he
hair.
realizes his destiny is to save this little girl.
And then
not
I'm
to
like,
save Lady
make out
Sybil.
with that baby.
Oh, yeah.
He's got to get her out to the old country house, which they do once again by way of the ice.
Yes.
They.
Why,
wait,
why
no.
did they need to get to the old
the
country
horse
house?
shows up
because
again,
the
correct?
princess bed is there.
But the princess bed is not real. That was made by the 5-year-old girl.
it was real. It worked, didn't it?
Well, it worked, but no, for no reason, because that girl has no magic.
I agree, but it worked.
Okay.
Oh, but also
But I mean, that's what I'm
because-
saying. That's a crazy ass thing to do. It makes no sense.
But that country house is in the protected area that the demon cannot go to.
Okay.
Which may be why he wants to go there.
Okay.
I don't know if at that point he understands that.
I think
Russell
he
Crowe is out to
believes.
get him again.
I think
That
he
the
believes
princess
he
bed
needs
does
to
work.
be in the princess bed.
Well, the princess bed didn't work last time. And
his
so,
dick only works in the princess bed.
So they obviously take off on the horse. They're flying, and as they fly to the Lake of the Cohees, all of Russell Crowe's guys in black like BMWs reach it at the identical time.
They're
driving
able to-
5 cars in formation across a frozen lake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but they are also able to this horse is flying on like wings. They are able to keep pace with a flighted.
That's what I'm saying. It makes no sense. They arrive there. The cars are, I guess, the cars are magic, and
Yes,
now we
cars are
get the big final fight scene between Russell Crowe, which is also like, why? That's what this movie is culminating towards, like a
Right.
fisticuff scene.
Yeah.
Between these two.
Between a demon who has now transformed himself into a human for reasons I now don't remember, although it helps him be at this country house, which he otherwise would not be able
Yes,
to go
because
to as a demon.
I guess he wants to kill. I guess. He
Oh,
wants,
is that why he can go to the country house? Yes,
Because
it
he's not
is.
a demon anymore.
He's
That's
now
why he'd go to the
renounced his
country house.
demonhood. That's why he
but
can go
he
anywhere.
renounced it though because he wanted to kill him because he is powerful now. He's immortal. The only way that he could take away his immortality is to
Fight him to the one true death.
Yes.
Yes, correct. I believe
So-
that's true. But in fighting to the one true death, that means Russell Crowe has to fight as a human. He doesn't have his demon powers.
Well, I guess you know what's going to happen here.
Russell Crowe kills Colin Farrell and the little girl dies.
And that it was a really bummer of an ending, but
I wish.
Now, this is when the little emblem from the tiny little toy boat finally comes into play as
Yes.
the instrument with which he kills Russell Crowe. It doesn't justify
After
the presence of that scene. in the
But Russell
beginning of the
Crowe, when he
movie.
gets stabbed in the neck, turns into a fucking snowman.
We don't know why that happens.
There's
I
a
thought
real
he
Jack
was
Frost
mortal.
moment.
I thought he was immortal, not like I thought he was mortal.
Yes.
So he should have just died.
I agree.
He does make
turns-
some reference earlier in the movie to when he's talking about what he wants to do to Colin Farrell. I want to turn him into snow. I want him to scatter. But so that's a
Oh,
thing.
really?
Yeah,
Oh,
Russell
I guess
Crowe
that's
did
a
But I
thing you
mean,
can
but
do?
is that a thing? I mean, so he stabs him with the boat thing, which means
City of justice.
Which well, I guess that he gave him justice. He finally
Yes.
gave it justice. But oh god, that's terrible. Then they go and they kiss. The girl comes back to
The girl
life.
comes back to life in a hilarious little misdirect where we think she's dead and she pops up and goes,
And
hey,
then-
what's up, guys?
I was hoping that girl was dead.
We see, by the way, there are 2 prominent placements of Dunkin' Donuts
Yep.
on 12th Street. The second one comes after
Yep.
that. They got their money's worth. And
I want to see the Dunkin' Donuts like cups for this.
Oh my
like you
God,
go in
yeah.
and like I would like
I
a
also, at that point, was
Peter
like-
Lake cup and I'll take a Pearly Soam.
I'll have a medium Peter Lake Tay.
I think the message of this movie, again, this is me giving it a lot of credit,
Yes.
is that if someone has been diagnosed with a terminal illness and you're sitting there praying for them to survive, understand that what it's going to take for that to happen is all of the crazy bullshit that goes on in this movie.
Yes.
So don't bother.
Oh, but I do want to say that I then fully expected Colin Farrell and Jennifer Connelly to get together and raise that little girl, but instead he takes the flying horse and flies into the stars and becomes a star.
He becomes
That's
a star.
right. Yes, he is free to become a star now because he has performed his miracle.
Yeah.
And I think we are meant to assume that this little girl grows up to become the grandmother of the first person who
man
goes
on
to Mars.
Mars. So
Or
when
the
we
first
all
female
die,
pope.
we become stars. Is that what we're led to
I
believe?
think that's part of it,
Oh,
yeah.
if we're good.
Well, Well, I will tell you this much. Obviously, we had an opinion about this movie, but there are people who had a second opinion. That's right. It's time for second opinions.
Second opinions. From top to bottom, crazy movies are fun.
They're not your first, but they're gonna be a second.
From the depths of Amazon they come. Second opinions for everyone. Second opinions. There are no reviews on Amazon, so I had to take
Really?
a
Oh, of course.
10-star review from IMDb. And here we go.
Whoa.
This is from Ilea657. This is one of those movies that is so profound, so perceptive altering, you cannot truly appreciate this movie for more than a love story or a monster story if you're not a deep person. This will be a movie I show to my son, and I hope he grasps the meaning of.
Whoa.
The love scenes captured romance and love between two people and not the filth. This movie is not getting its due. Unfortunately, I feel like it's because of the level our society is on now. Sad, really.
Wow.
10 stars.
Oh, brother.
I feel like I just got taken out to the shed.
You did, and here's two more. This is from Pam V. Critics of this movie surely don't have a heart or an imagination, for this movie is overflowing with both to such a degree I was amazed. Or perhaps the critics are nonplussed by the concept of miracles actually happening. It was like stepping into another world, not unlike the worlds of C.S. Lewis and Phil Pullman. I don't think it's Phil Pullman. But
Philip Pullman?
Yeah,
Phil Pullman?
Yeah. But as she goes, it's like stepping into the world of C.S. Lewis, but much more subtle and contemporary. For me, this is life and mood altering. I will see it again after the day it was opened. It is a must-see in my book for any human being.
Whoa.
And finally,
So you hear that, members of the animal kingdom?
any
You're
human
not
being.
welcome to see this movie.
And then Patty M finishes us off by saying, if you can suspend your intellect for a moment and remember how you believed as a child, you will find this to be beautiful, touching, uplifting. This is Shakespeare and Dickens.
Whoa.
It is not Tom Clancy and Philip Roth. What seems sophomoric to many critics is magic. It is childlike imagination and hope. It is a classic struggle of good and evil, which will be lost on many in our gray society.
Oh, yeah.
This movie is the salve for hurting and longing. And if
Oh, God.
so if you can leave the details of it behind for a moment, embrace the love and faith as reality beyond what our minds can fathom. I don't understand that.
I agree that having that point of view requires setting your intellect aside.
Yeah, you need
well,
to.
I will say there were like real emotional beats in this movie that I was like,
Yes,
that
Colin
I was
Farrell
affected
comes to tears
by.
a couple of times. Yeah.
That I was affected by. Like they did a good, like there are good performances
That's
in
why.
this movie.
That's why I say it gets the participation award.
Yeah, and that's what was tough about it is like
It's
like,
not bad.
For example, another movie this year that I loved that also was a romantic
Can I guess?
comedy that had a sci-fi element.
About Time?
It's About Time. It's an awesome movie that I also was like, this is going to be weird and crazy, but it totally worked because it was very, very simple and the rules of it were very clearly established.
Yeah. Any movie. I think movies with magic, you have to just give us a baseline.
Yes.
And in this, I don't even know what the baseline is
I don't
because
either.
some of the people who have magic aren't even aware of them having magic. And at the end, like when he flies up to the star, he does it so naturally and so like, all right, bye. I'm gonna become a star now. Bye. See you.
I've been alive for a century. Bye.
It's so crazy. I mean, there's no explanation to it. Would you guys recommend people seeing this movie in the theater or
I
on video?
really would not.
No, it sounds like I would recommend reading the book.
Yeah, I would like to read this book now.
I would not.
No?
I'm not going to read this book at all.
One of the best fiction books.
I can't imagine that's true. Here's what I will say: go see a really good movie, and then get stoned and sneak into this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I did laugh out loud a handful of times.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
there
I
was
laughed
laughs,
out loud
yeah.
a bunch, and there was some of the performances are okay. It's not like Last Airbender level terrible.
No, it's definitely watchable.
What's unfortunate about the movie is there's parts of it that I'm like, oh, I bet there could have been a cool movie here
Yeah.
if they made any effort to make it make sense.
I believe I saw on one website someone describe it as like a really well-financed version of The Room. It's weird and it has. I mean, it's like
interesting.
It has all the elements of a midnight movie. Like that doesn't make sense. There's all these weird moments and weird shots. It's a bizarre star movie. You should definitely check it out when it's out, when it's on video. And a big thanks to our engineer, Cody, who is always awesome for us, and all the people that make this show possible. I'm talking about Nate Kiley, does all the research, Avril Haley, who pulls all of our clips, Leanna Waldron, who designs our amazing graphics on our Facebook page. Definitely check that out. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.